You all are, I'm assuming, familiar with Drupal as the content management platform. You've been in this training program, but I wanted to just kind of provide a high level of Drupal, what it is, what the Drupal Association does, and what the resources are for talent and the job market and the workforce right now. So that's what I'm going to be going over with you today. So some of this might be review for you, but Drupal, what is it actually? So it's a free open source content management system that's leading a digital transformation across industries. So what that means is it's not owned by a central company. So anybody can use Drupal. You don't have to purchase Drupal from a provider like Squarespace. You can just go on Drupal.org, download code, and start using it, right? But in order to do that, you have to be able to code, which is why the Back to Work program is so important. So how does it improve your content management experience? So there's lots of different content management platforms out there, but you can integrate Drupal with a lot of different tools. It's really customizable. It's really flexible. And it's pretty sophisticated. So you can, for whatever purpose you might need Drupal for, you can use it, right? And it's really good for those like larger enterprise kinds of websites, right? So like anything with like integrating web forms or like has like multi-site integrations, things like that. So this is the Drupal ecosystem. So the Drupal ecosystem is global, it's vast, it is diverse. So we have over 8,000 code contributors from 1,000 companies in the past year. And so that's 8,000 individual people writing code for Drupal just to improve the product and the system. We have 46,000 developers. So these are software developers who are working full-time in Drupal all the time, and hopefully increasing that number with you all as you exit your program. There's millions of websites, and Drupal makes up 12% of the market share of content management platforms globally. And we've grown a lot. So this number is actually for Drupal 8, and we're on Drupal 10 now. So we've probably grown even more from that, but I just don't have the statistics right now. But we have over 1 million users on Drupal.org. So Drupal.org is the centralized place where code contribution is housed. It's where you can connect with other people, find Drupal agencies, find the initiatives that are happening, events. Drupal.org is like your home base. And that number is growing all the time. I onboard anywhere from 30 to 50 people onto Drupal.org every year, just through community engagement and volunteering. The very first step is making a Drupal.org profile, right? So that number grows every year. So this is kind of the ecosystem that you're going to be entering into if you're to join Drupal. So I was just sharing about some of those integrated marketing tools. So Drupal as a content management platform can integrate with any of these. And if you're kind of in the front end or site building, content management, and marketing side of things, a lot of these will be familiar. So Salesforce, Twitter, Google Analytics, MailChimp, Shopify, Facebook, YouTube. So these larger platforms that are used to circulate information to like big groups of people, Drupal is integrated with. So you have lots of different avenues to kind of utilize your Drupal skills depending on the site that you're working on. So we can create compelling content on more modern devices with Drupal. So the Drupal ecosystem on the back end is primarily Apple, mostly the developer environment for Drupal developers is Apple products. But Drupal is, like I said, really flexible. So you can it optimizes your user experience on any platform, on any device that you're using around the world. And that's really important because that means it's future-proof, right? So as the world changes, Drupal will change to accommodate those needs, right? So it's high performing, right? So it's faster. You can optimize your deployment to run it even faster, especially now with the new features on Drupal 10. It is wicked fast, and the processing is much more sophisticated. You can migrate so much easier from 8 to 9 to 10. And so that, again, is about future proofing, right? For high impact websites, high performance. Simplicity for editors. So we have it's really exciting. We just migrated our events website, events.drupal.org to Drupal 9. And like paragraphs is so smooth. It's so easy. So if your interest is more in like marketing and design or site building, Drupal has a really user-friendly editing interface. So you don't have to be a PHP developer in order to be a site builder and build out really beautiful, sophisticated websites. So we're a leader in multilingual. So we have multilingual modules that make it easy for sites to have automatic translation. This is really important for Drupal as a global platform. And the Drupal community is a global community, right? So it's really important that we are able to build websites that have functionality in the languages and the native languages where people are speaking. And these modules are developed by code contributors, just like you or me, who are native speakers in those languages. So this is pretty self-explanatory. So it's like I've said this a few times, Drupal is really flexible. Can kind of use it for whatever you need it for, right? Static site, forms, secure data processing and storage, like you can use it for anything, right? And it's highly secure. So one of the benefits of open web in general, so not just Drupal, but the open web broadly, is that the open source technology is more secure. That's one of the largest benefits, I would say, of open source technology, right? Because it is not owned by a single company. Code is coming in from all over the place, right? So that's why a lot of people choose open source, and Drupal is a lead in that area too. And then accessibility. So being able to build in accessible tools for your users. Drupal makes that really easy. Accessibility is a huge career pathway for people in Drupal. Tons and tons of Drupal developers go into accessibility as their area of expertise or specialization. So if that's something you're really passionate about coming out of this program, the Drupal landscape is a great place for this. Creating features for folks with disabilities, working on live captions, working on text modification, screen reader support. There's tons of those opportunities. And there's always a need for folks working on accessibility in Drupal. Awesome. So coupled, decoupled, and headless. So I don't have a tech background you all were sharing kind of at the beginning. My expertise is really in talent and education, right? So I'm not going to be able to tell you what coupled, decoupled, and headless is. But the reason I included this slide is because there are a plethora of resources on Drupal.org, including our, in addition to our YouTube channel that has tons of educational tools that really breaks this down in accessible ways. And so I think, and I wanted to use myself as an example as a non-coder, that I might not know what this means right now, but I can go to YouTube or Drupal.org and I have those resources. And those resources are really beneficial when you're navigating the job market. So you always have an opportunity to continue to upskill even after you leave the program. All right, so Drupal careers. So this is our most recent data from 2022. And I'm sorry, I did not convert this from USD. I do apologize. I should have done that in advance. So this is in US dollars, but pay range is going to depend on your area of focus and also the regional market. It depends on, the country that your employer is based in. But these are the kinds of salaries that you can expect, from entry level all the way up to senior level as a Drupal developer. And not even just as a developer, but working in marketing, like in site building, even in project management. There's so many different types of jobs that you can do in Drupal. So these are just kind of some estimates of what a salary that you might expect coming out of this program moving into the Drupal landscape. So where do you find these kinds of jobs, right? Like we're kind of talking about what Drupal is capable of, what the specializations are. Where do you find the jobs? So Drupal.org, right? So Drupal.org has a job platform called Drupal Jobs, and anyone who is in the Drupal ecosystem can post a job onto this job board right on Drupal.org. And it's integrated with Drupal.org as well as some of the other like workforce development platforms that you might be familiar with, like Indeed or LinkedIn. But the cool thing about Drupal jobs is that you know that they're in the Drupal sphere, right? So rather than kind of looking in the job description for Drupal, you know that these are in this ecosystem that we've been talking about. So you can create a profile, you can upload your resume, you can set job alerts for the types of jobs that you're looking for or interested in. I mean, you can check it pretty regularly. And you can filter by location. Lots of jobs in Drupal are remote. One of the, great things about Drupal, the Drupal like environment and ecosystem is a lot of Drupal agencies have been remote long before COVID. So there is kind of that like workforce standard. So this is one of those places that you can look. Other places that I would really recommend in looking for jobs in Drupal is LinkedIn is a really powerful tool. So just kind of seeing like, who do you know? Who are you connected with? Who maybe is working in the field that you're working in. And a really great way to start building out that network of connections is plugging into the Drupal community through contribution, right? So contribution is a huge, huge thing. Strategic initiatives, you start to become like part of that ecosystem, both locally and globally. So Drupal jobs is a great place to look. And so I wanted to share with you all some enterprise companies that use Drupal. So these are companies that we refer to as an end user. So these are organizations whose website is built on Drupal. And these kinds of end users also hire in Drupal because they need folks and developers to maintain their pages, right? A lot of them do use Drupal agencies, so they'll like outsource that labor, but a lot of them will hire internally. So I just kind of wanted to share some examples with you of enterprise companies that use Drupal. So DHL is a shipping company. And so you can kind of read through why they chose Drupal. But DHL is a global shipping company. So they ship all over the world, right? They're an e-commerce platform as well. So this is one example of a company that uses Drupal for their website. Wendy's. So this is like an American fast food chain, right? Very popular. They have a really funny Twitter account. And I know that they are really memeable, but they're a huge corporation, right? So they are partnered with Acquia. So this is kind of just a quote from the head of digital analytics at Wendy's. So kind of sharing why they chose Drupal. So they called it a Cinderella story, which I thought was pretty cute. Kind of like a rags to riches situation. So Lush is a beauty brand. So they sell like bath bombs, body wash, toothpaste, anything you might imagine. And they use all natural ingredients. They're a really, really popular beauty brand. They're, I believe, originally from the UK, but now they have stores everywhere, right? And so they are an end user that uses Drupal. Wilson is a sports platform. So they sell like sports equipment, tennis rackets, gloves, baseball bats, all that kind of stuff. And again, it's an e-commerce platform, and it's a really reputable brand. And then NBC Sports again. So NBC is a huge sports network in the United States, but they also do some global coverage as well. So these are all companies that use Drupal. And so when you're looking for a job in whatever area of expertise you're focusing in on, going directly to company websites and searching their job pages for the types of jobs that you're looking for is really advantageous. A lot of companies really prefer you to apply through their company website versus like LinkedIn or Indeed, because it does show like an investment in that organization if you go directly to their platform. So those are some pretty big companies, right? There might not be your entry-level roles, but that's kind of the landscape that you're entering into that you might have the opportunity to work with after a couple of years, right? Especially if you go to work for a Drupal agency. So Drupal agencies work with clients like this all the time. So the more that you get out there, the better your network is going to become and the more connections you're going to make over time. One of the ways you could do that is working with us at the Drupal Association. So the Drupal Association is a nonprofit organization, so we help steward the Drupal project, and we also support the people working in Drupal, whether it's volunteers or contributors or our partner agencies, or we have a program as well where we support up and coming Drupal talent, kind of similar to like the Back to Work program. So we have lots of avenues of plugging in, particularly around like DrupalCons and other kinds of volunteer experiences. So this is just getting you kind of an overview of the DA, as we call it for short. So we host and maintain Drupal.org, right? So we keep the lights on over there at Drupal.org, and we help provide tools for people to contribute. We help keep Drupal secure, so we maintain the security. We spearhead initiatives to support diversity and inclusion. So that includes partnering with organizations who share our mission. We have a DEI program that we do internally. We have a talent program. We also do a lot of DEI initiatives at DrupalCon and work to ensure that people who maybe traditionally didn't have a lot of space or opportunity in Drupal, that we make space for them. And we help the community do the same, right? So kind of like trying to set that example and provide resources. So we're kind of behind the scenes, making sure that, we keep everything running, and providing people what they need in order to be successful. So these are our key programs. I just shared about Drupal.org. We also run DrupalCon, which is coming up in June, which is exciting. And then Drupal Talent and Community. So DrupalCon, I know that there are oftentimes globally some travel restrictions in making it to DrupalCon, but the cool thing about DrupalCon is that we have tons and tons and tons of opportunities ahead of the event that are volunteer, that are virtual, where you can gain that experience and connect with the community in a broader context, and start fostering those connections, even if you're not necessarily able to come to the event in person. There's tons and tons of those kinds of opportunities. So we have like summit committees where we plan summits. We have translation assistants where we like translate materials into other languages. We have like a mentoring program where you can join virtually and help support the Drupal mentors. So the Drupal Association is a great way to start building out your network as well, and kind of making those key connections at Drupal agencies. So this is kind of the nugget. So contribution is the most powerful proxy for expertise in the open source world. So what that means is the more that you are able to contribute back to an open source project, the stronger your portfolio is going to be over time. And there's lots and lots of ways to do that. You can, do some accessibility testing. You can check out the issue queue and see, what are the things that are most critical that need support. You can do bug smashing. There's lots of opportunity with the strategic initiatives to get your contribution up. So I would highly recommend an avenue into the job market is definitely doing contribution and giving back to the project in addition to building your code skills. So that's all I had for this presentation, but I also wanted to quickly, I'm going to stop sharing so I can reshare. I'm just wanted to share with you all the issue queue in case you haven't seen it. If you have, this might be repeat for you. But I think it's a good way to kind of just see where contribution is happening on Drupal.org. So this is the issue queue. So Drupal.org/project/issues. And you can navigate there here by going to issue queues. Oops, sorry, right here. So you can look and see what are the open issues that people need support on. And you can look and see like who owns that issue, who's the person seeking support. So this is a really good place to go if you're looking for ways to plug into contribution. And you can kind of see, exactly what it is they're looking for. Is it normal? Is it major? What's the status of it right now? So if you're looking for ways to plug in, I would definitely recommend that. And then you can also go to the community tab and check out any of these. So the contributor guides, forums, you can look at case studies of people using Drupal, and then check out the strategic initiatives. So what are the core things in Drupal that we're working on right now that are, pivotal to Drupal's success? So Drupal.org really is your like jack of all trades website. You can pretty much find anything that you need on there. And then if you need to find us, you just go to Give and Drupal Association. So this is where we are. And you can find us in here anytime. We also have a blog. We have a newsletter, so you can check out what we're doing. And then if you ever are looking for a specific person, you can come right here to our staff page. So that is what I had in terms of formal presentation, but I would love to answer any questions that you have or talk about anything specific that you're curious about in the Drupal world, or provide insight into specific ways to plug in. So yeah, open floor, happy to answer anything that you might have.